couple weeks ago or so, I did a video about the DEA's propaganda on their website. And apparently now they have removed some of this propaganda. DEA removes marijuana propaganda from website. This is written by Mike Adams, MaryJane.com. He also writes for High Times and Cannabis Now. All right. Although the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency has all but refused to consider the cannabis plant as having any medical application within the confines of the Controlled Substance Act, the nation's leading drug sniffing hounds recently eliminated some misinformation about the potential dangers of the herb from its website. The update to the agency's digital presence was made after Americans for Safe Access, a nonprofit advocacy group fighting for marijuana to be recognized for its medicinal function, filed a petition with the higher ups at the U.S. Department of Justice demanding the DEA eliminate inaccurate language from its marijuana-related material. Some of the DEA's erroneous claims, which came in the form of a document entitled "The Dangers and Consequences of Marijuana Abuse," indicated that marijuana causes psychosis, cancer, and destroys cognitive function. The petition filed by Americans for Safe Access said the agency was in violation of Federal Information Quality Act by publishing these claims. Quote, the DEA's removal of these popular myths about cannabis from their website could mean the end of a Washington gridlock, said Steph Shearer, Executive Director of Americans for Safe Access. This is a victory for medical cannabis patients across the nation who rely on cannabis to treat serious illnesses. The federal government now admits that cannabis is not a gateway drug and doesn't cause long-term brain damage or psychosis. While the fight to end the stigma around cannabis is far from over, this is a big first step. Unfortunately, while marijuana advocates considered the changes to the DEA's website a modest victory, the drug agency still has not formally responded to the petition. As of yesterday, the agency is 1 week past the deadline to provide the group with an official reply. Furthermore, the law firm representing Americans for Safe Access claims there are more misleading statements that need to be taken down. Quote, we are hopeful the DEA will also remove the remaining statements rather than continue to mislead the public in the face of the scientifically proven benefits of medical cannabis, said Vicki Freeman of the law firm Ulrich, Harrington, and Sutcliffe. Americans for Safe Access believe it is crucial for the federal government to publish accurate information regarding the cannabis plant, especially since the majority of the setbacks regarding the legalization of marijuana in the United States can be largely attributed to the gross misinformation being spread regarding its safety. And here you have the DEA's drugs of abuse, and in that drugs of abuse is the section on marijuana. And I did look that up. They had removed the things mentioned in this article. But when you look at why the DEA wants marijuana to be illegal because they want it to be illegal. They want to enforce it. They don't see any reason not to. So until Congress changes their minds on marijuana being something the federal government should worry about, the DEA will continue to want to enforce marijuana prohibition laws, and they always use this international treaty obligation as an excuse as to why they have to continue to be tough on marijuana. Because in this, the United States treaty obligations may require that a drug or other substance be controlled under the Controlled Substances Act, or rescheduled if existing controls are less stringent than those required by a treaty. The procedures for these scheduling actions are found in Section 201 of the Act. The United States is partly to the Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs of 1961, which is a United Nations resolution, which was designed to establish effective control over the international and domestic traffic in narcotics, coca leaf, cocaine, and cannabis. A second treaty, the Convention on Psychotropic Substances of 1971, which entered into force in 1976 and was ratified by Congress in 1980, is designed to establish comparable control over stimulants, depressants, and hallucinogens. And hallucinogens are where they classified marijuana. So there is their excuse as to why they will continue to enforce marijuana laws as if they're somehow the police force of the United Nations. Now, if you know a whole lot about United States and United Nations treaties and resolutions in America, in the United States of America, if you know anything about these, you should probably know that we don't really abide by or care about these resolutions or treaties over here in America. We never have. Name one that we care about, okay? This is definitely one that the DEA keeps caring about and they always reference it. So here it is one more time. No medicinal value, the DEA keeps screaming. No, 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 there is no medicinal value. Well, this is a government patent held by the U.S. government. You might have heard of it, patent number 6630507. And it says that cannabinoids are useful in the treatment of prophylaxis and a wide variety of oxidation-associated diseases, such as ischemic, age-related, inflammatory, and autoimmune diseases. The cannabinoids are found to have particular application as neuroprotectants, for example, in limiting neurological damage following ischemic insults, such as stroke and trauma, or in the treatment of neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and HIV dementia. So that tells you that the U.S. government, on one hand, says, yeah, it's a Schedule 2 because the United Nations said so, or a Schedule 1. And then on the other hand, they recognize that it's medicine, that it has medicinal values. And then this lady here, Dr. Nora Volkow, she's the National Institute on Drug Abuse director. She said there's no scientific reason for cannabis to be in Schedule 1. And all three of these agencies have already said within the last year that the gateway theory doesn't apply to cannabis. Cannabis is not a gateway drug. And the DEA themselves have said this. Well, they're one of the three, but they're, time and time again, we ask the DEA for an opinion and all this, and I keep telling people over and over, it doesn't really matter what they say. If we flood them with phone calls, maybe they'll give you a response. But really what you need to do is you need to write your representative, your congressman, your senator, write your governor, write everybody that is a ruler over you, whatever in the system of government that we have, Even your city council member, because that's important. In some of the cities that I've seen, they're coming up with weird ordinances and making all kinds of crazy new rules for recreational and medical marijuana. Really crazy stuff like in Detroit where they're limiting where you can have residential personal grows for medicine, It's just a little bit ridiculous. Or in Lansing, they have an ordinance where they want to do this thing where if you use a certain amount of wattage, they want to know who you are. The government has a patent on the medicinal qualities of marijuana, and they've had it for a long time. The DEA isn't going to give you no answers. You're going to ask them to give a response about the stuff that they took off their website and why they didn't take other stuff off and why they still consider marijuana some kind of a Schedule 1 situation. They don't give you no answers. So We got to go through the government to get this done. You got to go write your congressman.